Hello, Taurus. Welcome to Ula Tea Leaf Readings. My name is Lenor, and tonight I'm going to be reading your tea leaves. All right, Taurus, we're in the new studio. Finally. It's actually still the same space, the same studio, but now it's in like the closet, basically. Basically, I made a studio in the closet so we can build out some more studios in the larger area. Thank you for bearing with me. I have not posted anything recently, at least for the last, 2 or 3 days. Yeah, and that's because things have been busy, man. Things have been busy. I hope that life has also been somewhat busy for you, but pleasant, right? Pleasant. So anyways, Taurus, thank you for being here. Let's get into this thing. Let's see what the tea leaves are going to tell us. We have the opening energy as being the star card, right? So this is an energy of, well, getting locked in, right? The star is a symbol of our goals, our dreams, our at the bottom of it all, true will, right? At the molecular level or quantum level, right? As above, so below. Yeah, these are the things that drive us, our drivers. Now, this is different for each of us. We all have our own life experience. We all, have our own proclivities and desires and interests and whatever. So it's always going to be a little bit different for each person. But here, and this doesn't surprise me, Taurus, you are always project forward, work forward, creating forward. So to see the star arise, yeah, that makes sense. It makes sense. You have something in mind. You have something that you are working towards, or you are beginning to do so. And here is also the other part of this. This is about temperance in a lot of ways, right? What happens when we decide that we want to do something in our lives, right? What happens when we get that fire burning? We can't. It's not that you want to do the thing. You can't live if you don't, right? You have to do it. So we have to kind of draw resources in, right? We have to collect our energies, our materials, our time, our energy. Oh, I said energy. That's a big one, right? Our motivation. And so it's a sense of getting on a routine, sticking to it, not just doing like a fad life diet, but a change in lifestyle, right? Spiritual, in the physical world, emotionally. All right, let's see. We're going to turn this thing. We're going to see what the tea leaves have to say. I'm trying to figure out how we're going to do the table. It might be too full. It's my original table that I started the channel with, and then I moved to a bigger one, and now I think that I'm spoiled. I'm used to a lot of space, so we'll see how it goes. But I need to figure this out. How am I going to do all of this without knocking things over? All right, let's take a look. Now, if you are interested in supporting the channel in any way, and I don't mean monetarily, but if you want to help get us in the recommends into the algorithm of the YouTubes here, yeah, like, subscribe, leave a comment if you want to. If you have a prayer request, I would be most honored to pray for you and with you, and or send energy, whatever suits you, right? And if you don't want to put it in the comments, you can email it to ulaishere@gmail.com. And here we go. So the first thing that I'm seeing is that you have been dealing with kind of old ghosts in your life, from your previous life, from your, now it could be a past life, a previous incarnation, but I don't think so. I feel like this is a distinct change, a shift. Like, I think that you are a person that very much has like that was my childhood, and then shift into a whole different life, right? The beginning of maybe the life you have now. I don't know. Maybe you have multiple acts going on. But it seems to me that there are things, and we have a person standing here, and the head would be up here, but up here we have, it looks like almost like apparitions and phantoms. At the top we have the star, right? So we do have this kind of reoccurrence of, yeah, you're kind of in this like getting locked in zone. But I think to do that, you have to clear up some old stuff, right? It's like if you worked at a place for a long time, or, for a significant amount of time, and, I don't know, something happened. It wasn't that big of a deal, but maybe it really teed you off. You got upset, you quit, or whatever it is, right? In a huff. Or maybe you just didn't show up. I don't know. But it didn't, it didn't leave a real positive vibe, right? A real positive situation. Your relationships maybe feel like they have been tarnished a little bit, right? And so then, and go with me, this is an example. I'm not saying this is what's going on exactly with you, but I want you to feel the feeling that I'm trying to get to. And so you go, whatever. They call you, you call them, you need another job. Maybe it's been some time, a couple of years. Maybe you're still in touch with some of the people you worked with, whatever. But you want to be able to, do what you need to do to support your life, right? And sometimes that means we have to, clean up the messes that we've made, so that we can move forward, right? So I feel like, then you want to go back, you have to make amends, right? You have to kind of apologize and show, I'm sorry, this was like a moment in time. There were, all these factors, whatever it is. And I assume you have done the self-work, right? Or you have at least looked at your behavior, whatever it is that happened. And then, right, we try to make amends. And we show our development through consistency, right? And so I feel like for you right now, you are in this stage of whatever it is from the past that really, I feel that it, and I don't want to place blame on anybody, because it's not about blame. Whatever happened, happened. But I feel like for you, there's a sense of guilt and shame around this. So I do believe that this is about some behavior that you have or had. At least you perceive it to be wrong, right? It doesn't necessarily mean it was. This could be conditioning. This could be like, I feel shameful about something that I have no business feeling guilty about, right? Like a good example is like, I feel guilty and shameful that I wasn't a good enough daughter, for my parents to want to be close to me, or to know me, or to, be a part of my life, or whatever it is, right? And I think this is and I bring that one up, right? Well, my parents are passed away. They passed away when I was a kid. So, you know, I mean, but I still have those feelings. The abandonment, not feeling cared for enough, right? But I think it's a really common thing, especially and I know the boomers get it. You get it bad. I know that you're human. I see you. I know that, you know, if you really shared what your lives were like coming up with us millennials, us Gen Xers, us, you know, whatever, Gen Z or whatever is younger than me, I feel like we would maybe hopefully have a little more empathy, because I don't think we remember what it was like for our elders to come, you know, to grow up, to try to exist in this world. Now, where you maybe had it easier, right? There were also things that were just unfathomable for us to even imagine being treated the way, or living in the, the systems and institutes that older people had to, you know. But my point here is that, and I'm sorry, I have my my writing bottle here, so it's loud, taking my drinks. My point here is that sometimes we take on the shame and guilt, like, why did my parents, I wasn't good enough for them to care that much, to pay attention to me, to, really get to know me, whatever. But that guilt should not belong to you, because it wasn't you didn't decide for them to be that way, to act that way, to not prioritize. And I'm sorry, I have soundproofing falling off the thing. And, so often we do. We take on the responsibility for other people's behaviors, their attitudes, their beliefs, how they have interacted with us, and we take it in deeply, and we feel the shame. What if I was this? What if I did this? What if I said? It doesn't matter. It's not anything to do with you. And I feel like this is where we're at, right? You are clearing out old beliefs, old conditionings, because of something that happened, or a series of somethings that happened, throughout a period of time. Maybe it was throughout your whole childhood, maybe it was only a few times something I don't know exactly, but I know that there is this profound sense of something being your fault, where I don't think that it should be. And I think that you're going through that self-examination, that self-archaeology. You are clearing the way so that you can get to that star. I don't know. I relate to this a lot, in that I feel like I've told myself I couldn't do things for years, right? Because I have dwelled in places of very deep depression, HARM, when I was young, anxiety. There was a time in my 20s, I went through a period of, and it wasn't true agoraphobia, but it was similar. It took months to slowly be able to leave my apartment. It was wild. I did not even know. I couldn't figure out what was going on with me. I thought I was having some kind of issues with vertigo and stuff. And, I don't know. So basically, yeah, I get it. There's so many things that happen within our life that we just note, oh, well, this is where, I struggle. This is something that I failed at. I can't do this. I don't, I'm not going to try again, basically. But I feel like, so often we limit ourselves more than anybody else can. And so sometimes we have to go back. We have to look at that conditioning, those beliefs that have been established, the beliefs that we have about ourselves, and so I feel like this is a good time for you to be, well, going through heavy tides of radical honesty with yourself. Also, radical self-love. Okay? I want you to support yourself through this. Now, we have the rabbit. Look at the head, the ears, and kind of sitting, right? Legs kicked up. Cute, right? Kind of leaned back. We also have, it looks like a heart that is being formed. I almost kind of imagine this rabbit just kind of hanging out and it's knitting its heart, right? So I do feel like for you, maybe the rabbit is your totem. You might be somebody that is super creative. You're prolific. You're quick. You always have a bunch of stuff going on, which doesn't surprise me. Taurus people are always the artists, always the musicians, always the creatives, the fashionistas, and so on and so forth. And always busy with the next thing, right? Always pushing the envelope. So I do feel like right now, in this time of self-examination and kind of really reforming your relationship with yourself, and the idea of your own histories, right? As you are lightening the load of an emotional, I hate to call it baggage, but I mean, really, yeah, emotional baggage, and really lightening that load through, accepting parts of your memories, your stories about yourself, but also, this is the thing. I just keep imagining, and it feels like when you're a little kid laying in the middle of the bed, and mom or dad or brother, sister, whoever is taking the blanket, the comforter, the quilt, and kind of like those parachute things, just kind of throwing it out over top of you, and it's coming down over you, and you can just feel that it feels like you're flying, right? It feels like a nice warm cocoon. It feels like, it's just laughing and warmth, and I feel like for you, there is a almost, it's like a lifting off of you. It's dispersing into the wind, right? This is a period of dissolution for you. And I think it does. There is a real factor of freeing self. I really do. And I think this is where the tempering comes in. I think that you are giving yourself a lot more grace than you usually do. And I think this allows for you to grow, and I also think to rest emotionally, and I think that as you come through this cycle of work, I really do. I see you being so inspired. I mean, just, with the rabbit, yeah, resting for the moment, but also creating. It's not a race, even if they told you it was. Now, it looks like we have the initials, possibly RT. And we also have, it looks like the number 7017. 7017. And the name Amanda really sticks out here to me. Amanda. and I don't see every letter, but it feels, I don't know how to explain, but it like kind of just like the A and the M, A and N and a D and an A, and I don't, to me it looks like handwriting. So Amanda, Mandy. Okay. Now we also have a duck here. Oops. A duck right here, and we have another one right here. So ducks, in my symbolic relationship with them, are often about being able to roll with the punches, right? When the waters get rough and kind of choppy, there's still this sense of being able to navigate your way through it. And so I feel like, you've really been in your resolve. And that is so apparent to me. So I do feel like in this like firming of that very core aspect of your personality, your being, your selfhood, I also feel like your ability to navigate difficult situations is really restored. Okay, because I think that you've always kind of been that person that people are like, well, you like really stay calm during, an emergency, or you just know what to do. You're really good at like jumping into action. And so I do feel like because of maybe the stressors, and honestly, I'm just going to say it, I feel like you have not felt so much yourself in a while. And I do feel like, and I do think that in this time, in the shedding that you are going through, there is a return to really trusting and believing in yourself, and really being able to, again, be that person that has the wherewithal to get things done, even when they're not easy. And listen, this is a rare quality, like a genuinely somebody who can keep it cool, somebody who, even when there are hard decisions, they are willing to make them, and stick to it. So I think this is a little bit of a superpower for you. Absolutely. Okay, now we're going to take a look over here. Okay, and also down here we have the number 213. 213. 213. I need water. The other thing about being in this closet is it's hot. It's so hot in here with the lights and stuff. Ooh. Okay, let's see. So we have two messages coming through. And I feel like these are two distinctly separate people. One related to the number 607. And the other, maybe 22. I think 22. Now, I believe that both of these people, because they're showing up as birds, I believe both of these people highly educated, maybe a little bit eccentric. I wonder if this was like a couple or siblings. I do believe that they both have passed away, but not in any, it doesn't feel sad. I think that they lived out their lives, and died, well, I'm not allowed to say that, and transitioned at a young age. Or not, an older age. Sorry. The algorithm. I'm sorry. So I do. I think that they passed away at an older age, an advanced age, I guess you would say. And so it does feel like these two people are together. in the afterlife or in transition to the next thing. And I feel like there's a sense of them recently visiting you. And that I believe that they're doing that through animals. Very much through animals. Now, if you have a dog or a cat or, some kind of companion that lives inside the house with you and you interact with them a lot, I do feel like you have noticed their behavior has been a little different. And I do think that is because of the phenomena and the messaging that is trying to come through. So I just kind of feel like this isn't like any, at least as far as I can feel, there's not a real clear message aside from we're here. And I almost kind of feel like, in a way, this could be like grandparents or an aunt and uncle who took care of you. They don't feel exactly like parents, but they feel like people who really took a genuine interest in you and very protective of you. And I think that's why they're hanging around. Now, I do feel like for you, you absolutely think about them and, they come up in conversation and you carry them with you. But I don't think that you always feel them presently in your life. That's different right now, though. Okay, if you've been feeling that kind of uncanny feeling, especially in the home, I think this is very much within the home. I do feel like it's these two working together to try to get your attention, okay? And I feel like this is more of a I love you than anything. Okay, now we're going to do our 3 lucky numbers. Oops. Number 49. 49. Okay, we got to do something different with this. That's going to scare me every time. 46. 46. Now, maybe I will set you over here. 49, 46, and 7. 7. All right. Okay, now we'll finish with our Wild Offering Oracle cards. And I'm just going to flip through and stop where it feels right. And it says, true love. Your wholeness and safety lie within, not from a partner, but this sovereignty actually leads to the deepest intimacy for you to stop using others. Let me stand on my own feet, dear Lord, and know true love. I struggle with this sometimes. I'm definitely a person that is prone to seeking all things in my partner or partners. And I don't mean always romantically, but, magical partners and people that you work on projects with or work with or whatever. I have this tendency to really, and in romantic situations, this has happened as well, where you meet somebody and you feel like they could be your everything. Like, this person is everything I've ever wanted, everything, I've ever needed in a person. And here they will, match perfectly with me. We will fulfill and complete each other and, have a home together and a family and, be lovers and best friends and confidants and, elevated above everybody else in your life. And, I am somebody who really, I'm not going to say falls for that or fell for that, that highest imagery of, love in the physical world. And maybe people have it, absolutely. But, as I get older, I realize, one person can't be everything, It can't be that way. It doesn't work that way. It's not supposed to. That's the perfect way to, to get right to separation, divorce, or just resentment, right? Nobody can live up to our ultimate goal or our ultimate desires for them, right? Or for a partner. And that's okay. They shouldn't. So I think that, when we do, we hit this place in our life, and hopefully we do, right? In all spheres of our life. It's the same as like somebody, maybe you're like a single parent and it's just you and your kid against the world. Your kid can't be everything for you. Now, they are everything, right? It's your kid, of course, but they cannot carry everything you need them to, right? Emotionally, psychically, they need room to grow. They need room to be their own person, right? And so it is in every sphere of our life, we have to consider these things, right? We have to remember. And when we do, we hit that place where you start to realize, I'm worried about a relationship, a dynamic with somebody that isn't being fulfilled in the way that I want it to. So I got to try to force it or fix it or this or that. And almost always, and I will say almost always, the work is to be done within us. The work needs to happen with you. So it is building that bridge of love with self. That is the ultimate love story. And, maybe that's what it is about turning 40. I keep hearing, 40, that's the decade, man, and I hope it is, because I'll tell you what, I am in that I don't GF or GAF anymore. You know what I'm saying? Too busy, too tired, have family, business, working on myself like mad the last year. Who has time? Going with the flow. All right. So anyways, self-love, this is it. Second half of the year, we're going to lock in. We're working on ourselves. We don't need to change. You are who you're supposed to be at all times. But sometimes, we got to pull out the thorns, right? We got to pull out that little splinter, that sliver that's in the paw, right? Can't keep walking if your foot is throbbing. So, sometimes we do. We have to do that deep self-work. Not because we need to change necessarily. Our behaviors might, our reactions might, our coping mechanisms might. But we're not doing it because we need to change who we are. We need to change aspects of how we function in life, right? So, anyways, Taurus, I love you. I'm sorry it took a while to get this reading out, but you know what? It's all for the greater good. Everything in its right time, everything in its right place. You are beloved to me. Good night.